When I first realised that my children were vaccine injured, I went looking for help, for support in our community.
Ah, of course, vaccine injured. That great oh-so-vague phrase that is never followed up with how, or what it means, or what exactly the mechanism for a vaccine to cause whatever you think it has caused is, other than, as a mother, I know that an entire industry of people who, on the one hand, seem determined to increase our life expectancies, and yet, for some reason, I can't even begin to articulate, are happy to completely destroy a child's life from the outset. Because evil, I guess. Vaccine mums, who needs science when you've squeezed a baby out?
Tide goes in, tide goes out. You can't explain that.
And I found the AVN. And I realised that I had to be part of the solution. I had to be...
Well, if you're not part of the solution, you're either a solid or a gas. Or the 99% of all matter that's plasma. I'm sorry, I lost my train of thought already. What were you talking about?
Active in protecting the rights of my children.
And what are the rights of my children not to get some fucked up disease off of yours? What of everybody else's rights for that matter? What of the right of the immunocompromised kids to benefit from herd immunity, while you and your dipshit mates systematically bring back long thought destroyed or at least under control diseases, because you think you know something that you actually don't? Honestly, I'm more and more a proponent of the idea, hey, if you don't want to get vaccinated, fine. You don't want to participate as a safe member of society? I mean, you have to have a driving license if you want to use the roads with a car. And if you're a walking, talking typhoid Mary, you shouldn't get to use schools and doctors apart from special vaccine-friendly wastelands. I think that's pretty fucking fair, personally. After all, the government is clearly out to get you anyway, so you can just set up your own little colonies. We'll come check on you every now and then, and we'll even bring you some supplies as long as you keep your harmless child-killing diseases away from me and mine. Sound good? And hey, I'll go one step beyond you and protect your kids' rights to get a vaccine because their mother is a fucking cretin and they can come live in the future space year of current year instead of the bloody dark ages.
My children's voices in a lot of ways were taken away by the government. So I had to be that voice. I had to be that advocate.
Look, fuck your health, Bruce. Mummy needs to feel special. Now give me some wine.
So that's why I thought to myself, I don't care what they say about me. I don't care what they try and do to me.
Well, that's part of the problem, really. When you have a bunch of people saying you're wrong, and more importantly, repeatedly proving it with mountains of evidence, maybe you should care. And do to you? What exactly have they done? Is it absolutely bugger all? I'm going to bet it's that, love.
I need to be strong, and I've always taught my children,
herpy derpy ding dong derpy herpy hoo. Now go out there and infect some poor bastards, you little shits.
That we need to stand up to bullies, and that's what the government is being. That's what these trolls on the internet are. They are bullies. They are keyboard warriors that attack you.
Yeah, God forbid they might know something you don't. No, you're too smart for that, aren't you? Don't you people understand? She has done 10 hours of solid research this year alone. 10 hours! That's practically half a day. How are you going to say she isn't the grand high authority on all medicine from now until forever? Don't tell me you actually trust scientists. They get paid money for their work. Money! We all know no one gets paid to produce things of actual quality. That's why all things in shops are free.
They're cowards.
Cowards. To give you their opinion is cowardly. So you're a coward by that logic then. I'm not sure you know what that word means, do you, Sheila?
So the way you deal with a coward is you stand up to them.
That's weird. I've had a number of anti-vaxxers stand up to me. I then ask for their evidence, at which point 9 times out of 10 I get no response, or the as good as no response. Look it up yourself. And the ones that do actually come back Well, it's always the same old debunked junk science that they clearly haven't read, or a paper misread and distilled into a blog, and then copy-pasted at me. It's wearyingly formulaic. But I soldier on regardless because I like practicing my crap jokes. And really, isn't that the true meaning of Christmas?
You don't sit back, you don't give in, you don't cower, you press forward. And you'll find that they will just fall away to the wayside. And when you do that, that's when change happens.
I seriously doubt any of these so-called trolls have fallen away defeated by your mighty brain. Now, perhaps they have given up because you refuse to understand what has been explained to you countless times, but that's not really the same thing, is it? Unfortunately, or perhaps completely fortunately for you and everyone else, there are still plenty of us that won't let you get away with spouting absolute horseshit onto the internet, and we will continue to point out to every which way you are wrong, and if we are really lucky, some of that information seeps out into the wider world using your dense arse as a springboard, so those who might otherwise be taken in by this shit have a chance to see you all for the charlatans that you are.
When you find your integrity, when you find that power within you to stand up, that's when things will change. And that's what we need to happen here, in Australia, in the world, basically, right now.
We need to stop progressing as a society and really go back a few thousand years. I mean, does anyone actually like their kids? Not if you are honest with yourself, come on. And the elderly? Well, they're just a burden. If we start stripping back all the progress we have made in medical science, we can really start to streamline some major economic problems. And why stop there? I mean, the internet. What's it really done for us? Bringing the whole world closer together and expanding our ability to collaborate on some amazing projects? No, fuck that shit. I don't understand how it works, and I'm pretty sure it causes cancer. So let's burn it all down.
We need every parent out there who has a vaccine-injured child to step up and be that voice for their children.
So, no one then?
Be that advocate for their freedom, for their rights.
In all seriousness, what parent doesn't do that, apart from the completely terrible ones? I mean, I know even you, as misguided as you are more than likely doing what you think is best for your kids. And when I say, no, bad cretin, I'm doing what I think, is best for everyone, even you.
Because otherwise they will end up with nothing.
Well, we've reached peak hyperbolic fear-mongering here, people. If you don't do what I say, you will have literally nothing. It's funny, because I'm pretty damn sure the world you would leave behind would be the one where no one has anything after you have torn down every institution you don't understand. The irony is palpable.
You can already see it in the making right now with all the vaccine mandates that are happening here, in Australia, all over the world.
I'm not sure there is anywhere in the English-speaking world that forces you to vaccinate, so long as you are happy to give up some societal privileges. Because let's be fair, if you aren't going to play ball with us, why the fuck should we with you?
If we don't do something now, we will have nothing left. We will be force medicated. It's becoming a tyrannical world, and we need to change that.
As far as I can tell, the US, UK and Australia all have laws in place in regards to consent to treatment. The idea that patients of sound mind, or in the case of kids, legal guardians, must consent to any and all procedures and even checkups performed on them. And doctors who ignore these things, and to be fair, it does happen, but they get into really deep shit. But I can't find any laws that contravene them in any regard or on a state level. So that sounds like something you've pulled out of your arsehole. Or probably the arseholes of you and your mates. And again, not having access to everything in society so you don't spread your deadly diseases seems like a pretty fair compromise to me. Like doctors who refuse to see unvaccinated patients, at least those unvaccinated by choice. Them making that stipulation doesn't mean you can't go as vax-free as you like. Stop talking shit.
So I'm calling on all the parents out there, even the parents of vaccine-free children. We need you guys to step up and say, look, this is the alternative.
As if 99% of the parents of completely vaccine-free children aren't already on board with your idiocy.
We have healthy children here, and we didn't need to give them drugs or vaccines or pills or all of the kind of allopathic solutions that they have now.
Healthy is a relative term, and I'm sure when your child does come down with something, well, it's because you ran out of leeches, you haven't balanced their humours in a while, or they are overdue for their fucking weekly bloodletting.
We have healthy children. It's not a case of you vaccinate or you die.
No shit, Sherlock. It's about reducing risk for everyone, you complete penis. Yeah, absolutely, you can go without any vaccines and live a long and healthy life. But that's largely due to the fact that you won't be encountering the illnesses that would have killed you because of frigging vaccines. This is what happens when you have a fantastic invention that saves many, many lives. You start spawning the lowest of the low in terms of comprehension, and they start making moves to tear down the whole system, oblivious of the fact that they are the cause of untold misery and suffering, for the simple fact of them not being smart enough to understand reality, or sane enough to understand that an entire world isn't out to get them.
It's you vaccinate or you can be completely healthy in another way. We need to show the world that there are other options. There is not just one size fits all.
In terms of preventative medicine, there is nothing that comes even close in regard to saving lives than vaccines. Hundreds of millions, probably billions of lives have been saved. Its contribution to the ability of mankind to survive is so incredibly important that we probably wouldn't be as technologically advanced as we are now, because a good portion of the greatest minds in recent history would have died without them. You people are after such a dangerous goal. It cannot be understated the importance of fighting you at every turn to the best of our abilities. Your ignorance is one of the most powerful weapons for suffering that it's actually not even funny.
So parents, please don't be scared. You know, I've been out here for quite a few years now, and I'm still here.
So what was all that about the things that they're going to do to you? Oh, right, it was total bollocks, like everything else you say, of course.
So obviously, if they haven't taken out parents like me, you guys will be fine. You need to just find that inner strength to stand up and be that voice. Be that voice for truth.
Truth? Go fuck yourself. Your truth requires 1,000 lies, misrepresentations and misunderstandings to even stand up straight. And the gentlest wind of inquiry knocks it down and smashes it into 1,000 pieces. Your truth isn't worth the farting noises you make that apparently pass for speech.
We need you. We need all of you to come on board and join the organisations that are available. Mine in Australia is the AVN.
Yeah, well, every backwards ideology needs its useful idiots. That goes without saying.
So if those Australian parents are out there, we need your help. We need to show the government that we are a combined force. It is that combined force that will get their attention. At the moment, we're so divided, so fractured, and they can just say, look, they're just a fringe minority.
Thank fuck for small graces. Also, they say you're wrong, because you are.
No, we're not. In the newspaper, they said there was over 140,000 families that were taken off their benefits because they hadn't vaccinated.
Approximately 1.7% of the 8.2 million households. I think fringe was a pretty accurate definition there, love. And that doesn't prove that they didn't vaccinate for your reasons. I'm sure plenty were just lazy or simply unaware that their kids weren't, for whatever reason. However, you brought up one interesting point. The removal of state benefits. And honestly, I'm not sure how I feel about that. Seems to be more likely to punish the children than the parents, making life more difficult. I'll have to say I'm quite on the fence about the idea because of the larger ramifications, and I may address that further in another video. But for the time being, let's just get this chick out of here and finish this sheet.
Imagine what the voices of 140,000 parents could do. They could change the world in Australia, especially Australia. We're a small country. But yes, please come join us. Thank you.
You could. I hope to Christ you don't. Because the future for your ideal world is nothing like you think it will be. It'll be a lot more like Mad Max, but with way more polio cripples.